Okay, so as you can tell, 3D glasses. So I saw X-Men Days of Future Past 3D. Not IMAX 3D, just regular 3D. Now, I know some people have asked about my Godzilla review. That will show up on Monday, which is Memorial Day. What makes the day special is, I have a wedding ring. 5 years ago, I got married. So yes, for my anniversary, my wife and I decided to go see X-Men Days of Future Past in 3D. This one's a lot more of a drama, and there are moments when the 3D works, but all in all, you can probably skip the 3D aspects, even though, I'll be honest, I want to see Sentinels in 3D. As you can tell from the basic story, the majority of X-Men are in the future, and the future is desperate. I mean, this almost makes like the future in the Terminator franchise seem like a picnic. You know, Sentinels have pretty much taken over the planet. They're hunting mutants, and they're also hunting people who carry the genetic disposition to become mutants. So they show the concentration camps where it's mutants with the M's on their eyes, and the humans who try to help them out. They do a good job showing, you know, sections where there's just piles of bodies, where there's just skeletons everywhere. So this one is definitely less child-friendly, especially when they get towards the ending battle sequences. So they have an idea. They need to send somebody back. Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, was able to send people back short periods of time. Only one person can make this jump back to way, way back. I'm talking in the 70s. Only Wolverine can survive it. So I sent him back in time. So he now has to pretty much take Professor X, get him to work with Magneto to try to prevent essentially the mutant, well, I don't want to say the mutant apocalypse, but essentially to prevent the human-mutant war. So you have some of the first-class characters and a decent amount of the characters from the previous X-Men franchises. They do a great job when it comes to balancing, you know, Wolverine in the past, because in the future he's pretty much on a table, and they're buying time to give him as much time as possible to try to prevent, you know, essentially the sparks that like the powder keg that lead to this horrible dystopian future. Now if you're thinking, again, this is a Wolverine film, Mystique gets a tremendous amount of screen time. You know, the majority of this film actually is the James McAvoy, it's the Michael Fassbender, it's your Jennifer Lawrence, it's Nicholas Hoult, and Hugh Jackman with the bone claws. Of course, future Wolverine, they show him as the heavy metal claws. So I don't know if they invalidated that movie or if they were doing this before that movie was finished and then tack on other stuff, but anyways, they can actually do a pretty good job when it comes to balancing the two different sides. And the ending sequence does this great job of shadowing what's happening in the past and what's happening in the future at the exact same time. So, great drama, perfect film. If you're a fan of the franchise, for the most part, they do a great job when it comes to reconciliation at the end of the film. That's all I'm going to say about the film proper before I'm going to get into some spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers, you can stop right now. Otherwise, 5, 4... Okay. If you saw some of the featurettes, you might have noticed that they mentioned that Magneto killed JFK. It's revealed that JFK was assassinated by the government because he was a mutant, and Magneto was there to save him. That's why he's in the Pentagon. What they do with Quicksilver, for the couple scenes they have him in, are great. They do a fantastic job with him. They don't mention Wanda. Even the end credits have, it's Peter's younger sister. Peter does make mention, as he saves Magneto, it's like, well, you control metal, right? My mom knew some guy who could control metal. So they do throw that small Easter egg in there, and it works pretty well. The crux of this film is, in 1973, Mystique kills Trask. And in killing Trask, it starts a Sentinel program. However, she's kidnapped. So they take her DNA to make the Sentinels essentially all kind of like Nimrod. Nimrod had the ability to adapt to every mutant power. As you're seeing in the future, what they currently do is Kitty Pryde always makes sure that she has Bishop. She takes Bishop back in time a few days. Because every time they fight the new breed of Sentinels, they all die. Blink dies, Warpath dies, Sunspot, Iceman, they die. They get butchered very easily. And so does Colossus. The end sequence, where you finally have Storm, Bishop, Sunspot, Professor X, and Magneto. They would all die had Wolverine not been successful. And by all die, I mean they overload Bishop so he explodes. 3 of them kill Blink at the exact same time. They cut Sunspot to shreds. They melt Iceman. They tear Colossus in half. They do a fantastic job when it comes to killing Magneto. And they almost kill Professor X. By the time they get that close, Wolverine was successful. And they were actually able to stem the tide of the Sentinel program going into full force. Because it comes down to Magneto takes metal, puts metal into the Sentinels, controls them as well as a stadium, surrounds the White House with the stadium, uses the Sentinels to pretty much try to kill the president. The president is saved by Mystique using a plastic gun. Wolverine wakes up. He's now in the current future, but he still has memories of the past. He goes downstairs. Anna Paquin's there. She's with Iceman. He's walking around. There's Storm. There's Kelsey Grammer's Beast. You know, everyone is still alive. And then he sees this redhead. And it's Jean. Jean's alive. He goes to touch her and gets stopped by Cyclops. There's Professor X. So pretty much seems like they said, well, X-Men 3, yeah, that never happened. Let's go on, don't worry about it, everything's fine. So it ends on this fantastic high note. However, there was still William Stryker heavily in the movie. And he pretty much does end up gaining control of Wolverine's body towards the end. Or so you would think. Is there an end credit sequence? Yes. They show a bunch of people chanting En Sabanur as they're just mutant doing this and building the pyramids. And in the distance, 4 men on horseback as they show the face of Apocalypse. Not with the lines. That's him when he was just white. You know, it's not the finished, you know, with the celestial armor and everything else. This is the young En Sabanur. Or, well, I guess if you're immortal, young is a relative term. But excellent film, done beautifully.